As a youngster growing up in Northern New Brunswick, I had many, many heroes. Roger Staubach, Guy Lafleur, Sonny Wade, Reggie Jackson, and this guy, you wouldn't think someone from St. Louis would have much of an impact on the Acadian Frenchman on the North Shore. But when Ken Holtzman pitched for the A's, when I saw him at his peak after successful years with the Cubs, the triple dynasty for the A's, 72 to 74, he was the man in our household. And when I started playing baseball, my manager said if I had three Ken Holtzmans, I'd win everything. And I tend to agree. With one, he won a whole bunch of titles. Now, unfortunately, he passed away on April 15th, 2024. Sorry, I'm only getting to the podcast now because I wanted to confirm his passing, and it wasn't really publicized that much, but boys, he's going to be missed. Now, born in St. Louis, he played pro ball and also was a coach. A left-handed pitcher from 65 to 79 for the Cubs, the Athletics, the Orioles, and the Yankees. Now, he wasn't a big part of the Yankees' mid-70s dynasty, but he had enough left to make a contribution. Now, with the Cubs, he pitched 2 no-hitters. He played for the Athletics dynasty that won 3 consecutive World Series titles between 72 and 74. A 2-time All-Star. Holtzman was a 20-game winner for the A's in 73. And he's a member of the Chicago Cubs Hall of Fame. And I think his tenure as well, very good with the bat, and he drew a lot of attention. I know French announcers in Quebec call him a double threat, le double threat, as we say in French, avec le bâton puis avec le baseball. Now, Holtzman was born in St. Louis on November 3rd, 45, to Henrik and Jacqueline Holtzman, one of the key Jewish players of the modern baseball era. He was raised in an observant Jewish family and graduated from University City High School in St. Louis in 1963. He attended University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, where he played college baseball for Illinois Fighting Illini. He graduated with BA in Business Administration and des mots français and French, so he was quite good in French. I remember him doing a few interviews with some of the Expo staff. Now, the Cubs selected Holtzman in the 4th round of the 65 Major League Baseball draft. At the age of 19, he pitched 12 games in the minor leagues in 65, 4 with the Treasure Valley Cubs in the Pioneer League, and 8 with the Wenatchee Chiefs, Northwest League, a very popular association at the time. He was 8-3 in the starts with a 1.99 earned run average and 114 strikeouts in 86 innings. Great movement on his ball, great, what they call a positional hitter, very similar to Steve Carlton, but with kind of a more moving fastball. Now, when the Cubs promoted Holtzman to the major leagues in September 65, he made 3 relief appearances that year and joined the Cubs starting rotation. And with a relatively weak Chicago squad, went 11-16 as a rookie, as the team finished in last place. Now, as a promising Jewish left-hander, he was heralded as the new Sandy Koufax. He pitched against Koufax in 66 on September 25th and won by a score of 2-1, becoming the last pitcher to beat Koufax during the regular season. Koufax would make his last regular season appearance a week later on October 2nd. Holtzman was a very dedicated member of the military as he served in the National Guard in 67 and was only available to play on weekends. He appeared in 10 games and went 9-0. After going 11-14 in 68, he posted consecutive 17-win seasons. He was NL Player of the Month in May 69 with a stellar 6-0 record, a 2.16 ERA, and 44 strikeouts. Now, that August 19th, Holtzman reached the peak of his what they call multiple-faceted game by pitching a no-hitter at Wrigley Field against the eventual Western Division title winners, the Atlanta Braves, taking a 3-0 victory on Ron Santos' key 3-1 homer and outdueling the Braves' stellar Phil Niekro. In that match, Holtzman had no strikeouts and 3 walks in the game. This was the first no-hitter by a Cub left-hander at Wrigley Field and the 3rd no-hitter ever thrown without a strikeout. Earl Hamilton did it on August 30th, 1912, Sad Sam Jones on September 4th, 23, a feat that has not been equaled since. In the 7th, Hank Aaron crushed a drive to left field that appeared to be a home run, but the wind held up the ball, enabling the great Billy Williams to catch the long fly ball and to recess well at the wall in left field. Now, when Holtzman faced Aaron again in the 9th, he got him to ground out to second base to complete the no-hitter. That year, the Cubs led the Eastern Division for much of the season before finishing in second place, mostly due to maybe a black cat that showed up in the field in front of Ernie Banks. He finished 8 games behind the eventual world champion, New York Mets. Now, in 1970, he had a 17-11 record with a .338 ERA and finished third in the NL with starts with 38, fifth in both strikeouts with 202, and innings pitched with 287 and 2/3. He was sixth in complete games with 15 and ninth in wins. Baseball historian Bill James considers the Cubs' 1970 rotation of Holtzman, Jenkins, Bill Pappas, and Bill Hands the best of the 1970s. I don't think so, but I got Baltimore and the Holtzman A's and also the Yankees were quite good too. Now, on June 3rd, 71, he pitched his second career no-hitter, the first ever at Riverfront Stadium, against the defending league champion Cincinnati Reds, winning the game 1-0. Now, he was tired of losing in Oakland, and he was asked to be traded at the end of the 71 season, so he was dealt to the Oakland A's in November in exchange for outfielder Rick Monday. Now, that's the trade that killed the Montreal Expos in 81, because if Monday wasn't traded to the Cubs, he wouldn't end up with the Dodgers. So I'm looking at you, Ken Holtzman. You cost us Monday in 81. Now, Oakland had won the Western Division in 71, but were swept by the Orioles in the ALCS. And, of course, Baltimore lost to Pittsburgh in the World Series. It was just as Oakland began his run of 3 straight World Series titles. Now, joining a staff that featured Vida Blue and Kathy Shunter, he won 19 games in 72, making him 7 in the AL, and was named to the All-Star team for the first time. He unfortunately lost Game 3 of the 72 American League Championship Series against the Tigers, as opposing pitcher Joe Coleman set an ALCS record with 14 whiffs. After Oakland won the ALCS in 5 games, Holtzman won Game 1 of the World Series against the Reds. He did start Game 4, but left in the 8th inning with a 1-0 lead and a runner on third base. The Reds then scored twice to take the lead, but Oakland scored twice in the 9th and a very dramatic comeback to win 3-2. He relieved Hunter in the 8th inning of Game 7 with a 3-1 lead, but after surrendering a double to Joe Morgan, he was replaced by Rollie Fingers, who got the save. The A's then hang on for a 3-2 win to take the series. Now in 73, Holtzman led the A's with a .297 ERA, 6th best in the league, as each of their 3 top starters won 20 or more games. He was again an All-Star, 21-13 and 40 starts, and his 21 wins were 4th best in that very strong year for pitching. He also had 157 strikeouts. Over the next 33 years, only 2 other left-handers had as many starts in the season. In the 73 LCS against the Orioles, he won a classic 11-inning 2-1 duel against Meg Cuellar in Game 3 when Bert Caminers homered to lead off the last inning. He started 3 times in the World Series against the Mets, winning Game 1 2-1. He lasted, unfortunately, only an inning in Game 4, departing after a 3-run homer by Rusty Staub, which was followed by 2 more base runners. He recovered to win Game 7, leaving the 6th with a 5-1 lead, as the A's won the game 5-2 and their second straight title. In both these victories, he doubled and also scored the first run for the A's again after not having batted all season due to the AL using the DH for the first time in the 73 season. Now, when Holtzman again won 19 games in 74, this time endured 17 losses despite his .307 ERA, which ranked 11th in the league. Facing the Orioles again in the ALCS in 74, he had a 5-0 shutout in Game 2, taking a 1-hitter in the 8th and allowing all 5 singles. Against the Dodgers in the World Series, he started Game 1 but was pulled in the 5th with a 2-1 lead. The A's then went on to win 3-2 despite a late home run by the Dodgers. He won Game 4 5-2, hitting a home run off for Andy Smith's best in the 3rd inning for a 1-0 lead. Now, after losing in salary arbitration in February, he wanted to get away from Charlie Finley, but he had one more season. He had an 18-14 record for the 75 A's as he won their 5th straight AL Western Division title. On June 8th against the Tigers, he had what would have been his 3rd career no-hitter, broken up with 2 out in the 9th by a Tom Verizor double. He also became the 3rd pitcher after Cy Young and Jim Bunning to pitch no-hitters in both leagues. Holtzman lost Game 1 and 3 of the LCS to the Red Sox as the A's were swept in a slight upset. He was 4th the AL game started with 38, 6 in hits and allowing per 9 innings pitched, and with 7.33 and 7 in wins. Now, he was lowballed like crazy. He was only making $93,000 at 75. Can you imagine? He should have went to Montreal or even a NL West squad. He was one of 9 Oakland players who refused to sign 76 contracts. Holtzman sought a well-deserving 3-year, $460,000 pact, With free agency imminent after season, the expectations of higher salaries for which Athletics owner Finley was unwilling to pay, he was acquired along with Reggie Jackson and minor league right-hander pitcher Bill Van Bommel by the Orioles for Don Baylor, Mike Torres, and Paul Mitchell on April 2nd, 1976. When Jackson received a $60,000 raise to end the season opening holdout, Holtzman accused Orioles GM Hank Peters of a double standard for continuing to impose an automatic 20% pay cut on him and 8 other unsigned teammates. A proposed trade that would have sent him and Bobby Grich to the Royals was depending on signing a contract, failed to materialize on June 13th. Now, the other big deal, he was dealt along with Doyle Alexander, Elrod Hendricks, Grant Jackson, and Jimmy Friedman from the Orioles to the Yankees for Rick Dempsey, Scott McGregor, Tippy Martinez, Rudy May, and Dave Pagan. And McGregor, Martinez, and May turned into great starters. So technically it was 3 starters for 3 starters plus filler. This was right before the non-waiver trade deadline on June 15, 1976. He posted a 12-10 record for the Yankees over 3 years, but his playing time was increasingly limited. He did not appear to 76 or 77 postseasons with New York. In June 1978, after making 5 appearances for the Yankees, they traded him to the Cubs for Ron Davis. He had his career with Chicago in 79, going 6-9 with a 4.59 ERA. Now, Hall of Fame worthy, I think so, and this is my opinion. He was pretty well a top 4 pitcher in the National American League over a decade span, and that alone should be deserving. Over 15 years, 174-50, 3.49 ERA, 1,601 strikeouts, and 31 shutouts in 451 games played, 2,867 innings. He held batters to a .220 batting average with 2 outs and running as a scoring position. His 80 victories with Chicago were the 4th most by a left-hander, behind Hippo Vaughn, Larry French, and Dick Allsworth. He did receive 4 votes in the Baseball Hall of Fame voting in 85 and 5 in 86, but fell off the ballot. Now, among Jewish pitchers, his career victories are the most in the Major League Baseball, 9 more than Sandy Koufax at 165. As of 2010, Holtzman's 601 strikeouts were second, and his 451 games were second behind Scott Sean Shotwells amongst Jewish pitchers. He held the record for most pitching appearances by a Jewish pitcher until 98, when Scott Radinsky passed him to become the major league leader in appearances. His 3.49 ERA was 5th, behind Koufax, Radinsky, Barty Petey, and Erskine Mayer. Now, Holtzman went into insurance after his career and attempted that career. He also worked for the St. Louis Jewish Community Center. He did coach the St. Louis baseball team for the Maccabi Games for a few years and is a member of the Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame, the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, the St. Louis Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, and the University of Illinois Athletics Hall of Fame. Now, Holtzman managed the Petra Tvika Pioneers in the inaugural 2007 season of the Israel Baseball League, but left in the middle of the season, unhappy with the way the league was run. Now, Holtzman was the father of 3 beautiful daughters with his ex-wife Michelle. Unfortunately, he died again in St. Louis on April 15th after battling heart issues. He was 78 and had been hospitalized for 3 weeks prior to his passing. After a funeral service on April 17th, his body was interred at the Chesed Shel Ibet Cemetery in University City, Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Holtzman, the name in Canada brings up so many memories. The Fergie Jensen Chicago Cubs, we watched the Cubs because Fergie was pitching, a great Canadian from Ontario. Holtzman was our hero in so many ways because he could hit, he could pitch, a very, very smart guy. I only saw him interviewed once, and I think it was Tony Kubek, and he asked him, he said, "Can you tell me how the game went?" Well, he said, "Tony," he said, "when you got a team like I have behind you, you know it's going to go well if everything goes together." He was a very humble guy. As a fellow Jewish person, my ancestry of being a Jew was held from me for many, many years. And when I started to follow and started to look at my ancestry, I was very, very touched to know that I did know Ken Holtzman when I was 78 years old. I didn't know he was Jewish. I only found it later on. I am so proud that someone like him represented our people and our way of thinking for sports. See, a Jewish athlete has to respect his faith, has to respect where he comes from. A lot of Jewish people in the States come from small towns, big cities. They represent so many things. The Jewish athlete is very underrated. We think Jewish athletes are just boxers, but in baseball, there's been a tremendous tradition. And I said a little prayer for him the other night when I found out. I'm sorry it's a little bit late. There's been political upheaval in Canada the last few days. A lot of stuff going on with election precursor stuff and all kind of foolishness, but in the hockey season as well. But Kenny Holtzman, I treasure my baseball cards that I got of him. And I still see him at the plate. And I'm saying to myself, that guy got whoever taught him to swing, could have been his dad or even his mother, my God, wherever he learned that is tremendous. And he should be in the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame. I tell you why. Because as a Jewish athlete, him and Sandy Koufax made the rejigged how people looked at Jewish athletes in baseball. That alone is important. He's got the record. He's got the, he stood up for. I know Curt Flood talking about the rights of the athlete. He was just as important as Curt Flood because he got a whole bunch of people together. He said, we're being screwed over. Charlie Finley wouldn't give anybody what they were worth. I mean, look what he did to Mike Andrews, trading Reggie to Baltimore, of all things. I mean, it's the way it goes. But I'm sad the A's are going to be leaving. But that from 71 to 75, what I call the dynasty era, Holtzman is there's 5 key players of the A's of that era. He's one of those 5. And that's saying a lot. And he does deserve to make the Hall of Fame. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, just a quick recap, so we're not leaving anything out. Again, 3-time World Series champion, 72 to 74, 2-time All-Star, 72 to 73. Of course, part of that Yankees mini dynasty from 76 to 78. 2 times with the Cubs, 4 years with the A's, 174, 150, and 349, and 61 strikeouts. And again, Chicago Cubs Hall of Fame as well. So why not the Baseball Hall of Fame? Why not? Larry Walker got in partially because he's considered one of the best Canadian players of the modern era. Why wouldn't Holtzman goes in? Not only because he's one of the greatest pitchers, he's one of the greatest Jewish baseball players of all time. So I mean, how can you refuse somebody like Ken Holtzman? Handsome guy too, though. Loved his mustache. I tried growing a mustache like him years ago. Can't be done. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our vintage podcast, let us know. We'll like, comment, subscribe, or share. We're going to be doing something on the passing of Jerry Grody and Larry Brown. Keep an eye out for that. A lot of World Series champions passed away in April. And just like T.S. Eliot, April is the coolest month, as we say. Thanks for listening. Bye.